Hi everyone, this is Michele Guaitoli. You might know me as the singer for Visions of Atlantis and Temperance. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Anleon S3 wireless in-ear monitoring system. A couple of weeks ago, actually a bit more, something like 2 months ago, I received an email from Alion and they invited me to check this brand new system out. It's a new product of theirs. To test it, to try it out in several conditions, in the rehearsal room in the studio, in some of my latest live shows, which I actually did, and to provide feedback, a review for all of you, of course. I absolutely didn't know the brand before, so I had no prejudice on them. I absolutely didn't know what to expect. So everything that I experienced came without an expectation, and this is really important when you try out a new product, because sometimes knowing that the product will come from a well-known brand or from a brand that has not a big name might create some positive or negative expectation before trying it out, which I absolutely didn't have. I didn't even want to search the internet about Anleon, so everything that came out and everything that I experienced is totally pure. At first, I want to say that I actually tested the in-ear monitor in different conditions. I tested it live, since I had a couple of shows in the last months in which I could try it out. I tested it here in my studio, and I had the chance to test it also during some rehearsals, so I did everything that I was expected to do to provide a good feedback. And I have to admit that I was really surprised in a positive way, due to many reasons that I will now explain. But at first, let's start by saying that the box comes with a really nice look. It seems to be a simple but professional product, and this combination, simple but professional, is something that it's a combination of words that I would use to describe the overall experience that I had with this Anleon S3 in-ear monitoring system. The box is kind of simple, with a good design, with easy graphics, of course, the details and specifications in regard of the frequencies, the content, and everything else. And inside the box, you will find the transmitter, of course, the receiver, of course, the power adapter that I plugged to show you some features here, and a pair of headphones, which I have to say that I tried. And as for basically every in-ear monitor system that I tried that doesn't come from big names, I immediately changed them. So let's start with the negative feedback. It's in regards of the headphones. The headphones are good when it comes to listening to music. If you have to use them with your smartphone or with your tablet, or with a notebook to listen to music, it's absolutely fine. The definition is good. It's not like super cheap headphones. I'm not saying this, but when it comes to live monitoring, the duty that is requested to the headphones is quite demanding, because there is pressure, there is dynamics, there are a lot of elements that are important and that I almost never found in any commercial headphones that doesn't come from a big brand. So if you go with the big names, or even of course with some personalized earplugs, then you will totally find your piece. But when it comes to standard and regular headphones, I personally, maybe it's me, maybe I am too demanding on this side, but I really need some really high quality headphones, and I cannot say that these headphones were different from any other commercial headphone that I tried myself. That said, this is the only downside that I got to discover in the entire packaging. The power adapter seems to be stable. I didn't have any electrical issue. And then I will get to everything else. I will get to the solidity of the transmitter, of the receiver, and the stability of the connection and everything else, which I found really, really, really good, really cool. Okay, let's go straight to the transmitter. Again, as I said before, these two words, simple but efficient, simple but professional, are the two words that I will use to describe it. The design is extremely simple. You have like phones output in which you can plug phones if you don't want to go wireless, with of course the volume. Then you have simple buttons, a set button that is needed to change frequencies, or if you press it again, you can go into the switch between mono or stereo mode. Then you can set the sensitivity, and again back to the channel selection. So there is not much to do here. There are not that many features in this Anleon system, but all of them are working really well. When it comes to the channels, you have like 96 channels because they are divided in groups. You have group A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And each group has 12 different frequencies. Of course, to access them, you just press the set button and then you scroll with the buttons up and down. A, 9, 10, 11, 12, B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Of course, there are different frequencies depending on the region from which you buy the system. And as said, the last one is H. Okay, then of course you can set the system to go stereo or mono depending on the connection that you have. And then you have this sensitivity parameter in which you can start from less 24 dBs and go up to 0 dBs. There is no boost. That's it. Simple, efficient. And in regards of the backside of the transmitter, you have a combo jack/XLR input here and an audio loop. The combo XLR is meant to have like the left and right signal, of course, or if you go mono, the first and second channel, which you can actually balance, but I will tell and explain this later. And if you want to go just mono, you plug it here on the left channel. This is standard. When it comes to the receiver, it turns on with a volume knob, as pretty much as every in-ear monitoring, wireless in-ear monitoring receiver system. And also here you have like 4 buttons: set, escape, plus, minus. Of course, with the set button, you go into the frequency selection mode. You set it, you press it again, and you get into this focus mode. Actually, it's the same thing. It's mono or stereo or focus. The mono and focus setting is the same, so you can either set the stereo system here or here. And of course, with the plus and minus button, you go and switch between focus/mono or stereo. Actually, the menu, you might have seen it, it's a bit fast, maybe a bit too fast, so you have to be quick when you go and change your settings, otherwise it's easy to lose the moment and you have to press it again, of course. And then there is a high boost system, a high boost option here, which you can turn on and off. I turned it on and I found myself really comfortable with the sound provided with the high boost mode activated. And then you get back to the frequencies. So again, 3 simple features: frequency, high boost, and stereo/mono features. Yeah, basically the ESC button is not even needed since it's that fast that you actually don't have the time to press it, to push it before it goes out on its own. The frequency the frequency setup has to be set manual. There is no infrared connection or any other connection between the receiver and the transmitter. So everything is analog and manual. If you want to switch frequency, you have to do it here on the transmitter and then set it on the receiver itself. The phone's input is a standard phone jack, and just for you to know, the receiver, is driven by 2 AA batteries, which were included. Nice thing, they also provide a spare holder for the batteries. Like, you have 2 of these. Okay, you have 2 of these little things, which is really helpful because maybe if you want to have already another set of batteries ready, for the changeover during the show, you can actually do it super quickly. It's pretty easy to lock it. It's pretty easy and it's pretty stable. There is no, vibration. Everything is absolutely stable. When it comes to the construction, this is plastic, okay, but it's kind of resistant. It seems to be like a good plastic system, even though I'm not a super fan of plastic in general, of course. This is metal, and once again, the construction and the design are really, really, really simple. There is nothing specific that can, get broken while you transport it. There is no element that seems to be endangered by the construction itself. The antenna is a standard in-ear antenna. I was a bit scared at the beginning when I saw it because, these little antennas here, they always seem to be not really efficient at the very beginning, but surprisingly, now it's time to share my experience while using it. Surprisingly, this was really, really stable and amazing. So, I will start saying that I used my personal headphones to try it out, to test it during the rehearsal, during the studio time, during the live shows. Also because I know them really well, and I wanted to have I wanted to try it out with the sound that I already know, especially when it comes to the live shows. Knowing the response of the headphones, it's really important, and you don't want to have surprises on the sound of your voice and the dynamics and everything else. So I used my personal headphones rather than the ones that that were provided with the packaging. That again, I tried for like 10-12 minutes to immediately realize that they were not good enough to support the volume that I used during the rehearsal, live shows, and everything else, and the dynamics was not really good. When I was pushing my voice, the speaker was becoming a bit. I would say it was clipping. It was almost clipping. It was not defined anymore. And when it comes, of course, to the lower volume, everything was all right. But I totally sensed a lack of bass frequencies. So again, I used my personal headphones. But let's go to everything else, which is really, really good. The connection, the definition of the sound, and in general, the overall experience with this in-ear monitor system were just fantastic. When it comes to in-ear monitoring system, if you spend a lot of money and you purchase a really good in-ear monitoring system, then of course you can expect everything to work perfectly, and you also can allow yourself to be really disappointed if it doesn't. But when it comes to smaller brands that are not like big names in the sea of in the sea of sharks when it comes to audio gear, then what can you expect? I've been trying several in-ear monitoring systems, and I was always really disappointed. Well, the Alion S3 totally surprised me. The sound definition is absolutely good. Once again, I want to remind you that I used the high boost feature on the receiver, because without it, everything was kind of dull, muddy. But as soon as I turned on the high boost, everything was absolutely perfect, absolutely well defined. I found back the high frequencies that I was expecting, and the overall balance of the in-ear monitoring system, the overall balance of the sound that I was receiving from the system was really, really good. And this in the rehearsal room while rehearsing with my band, in the studio here, connecting it to like an output of my audio card, and actually I've been trying to walk around the entire studio and outside of it too, and I never lost signal. This is something that really surprised me, because even with such a small antenna, with such a simple antenna, still I never lost the signal. Of course, I lost it when I went really, really, really far from the transmitter itself. But I mean, we're talking about 50, 60 meters probably. Within the working range, I never lost signal. And this is amazing. I never experienced something like that. Even with bigger names, even with the in-ear monitoring system from bigger brands, I never had such a strong connection. And I was totally surprised. This is extremely important to me. And the same happened on stage. When I used it on stage, the same thing happened. I just didn't lose signal. Never. It's fantastic. It's just fantastic. So, I mean, and I've been trying it here. I've been trying it in Austria, here in Italy. I've been trying it in Austria. I've been trying it in Germany. So I also changed location, and sometimes changing the conditions, changing the environment, getting on stage, on that stage rather than on the other stage, makes a difference. Well, it didn't. The S3 stayed stable even with such a small, such a little antenna, and this is really good. And again, the sound quality is absolutely cool. It's absolutely good. The dynamics that I were receiving were absolutely coherent with what I expected to receive and with what I'm used to, because of course it was the first time that I was using this Alion S3 system, and I've been using several other in-ear monitoring systems, and I have my own in-ear monitoring system that I've been using for ages now. And the sound was absolutely coherent with what I expected to hear, and this is another huge PowerPoint for Anleon, especially considering the price range in which this system is sold, because it's way cheaper than the one that I'm using and way cheaper than the one provided by the big names. Even there are several steps that you can approach, but even the entry levels from the bigger brands, they are more expensive than the S3. So I really find myself in a position in which I would totally suggest this to all of you who are looking for, who are searching for an easy system with a first, for your first approach to the world of in-ear monitoring systems. Of course, there are not that many features. This is to be said, because when you get systems from bigger names, from bigger brands, some of them, they have more frequencies. Some of them, they have the automatic frequency setup, which this one doesn't have. Some of them, they have like the infrared connection between the receiver and transmitter. So you just select the frequency either on the transmitter or on the receiver, and then with an infrared scan, you can connect them. Some of them have bigger antennas, and of course, some of them have a digital system. Some of them have a digital system, and this is completely analog and RF, of course. But still, hey, I absolutely have no complaints in terms of functionality, especially in a situation in which several different environments. Although I had to switch the frequency, of course, I just didn't use the first one, A1 set and A1 used for every condition. Of course, I had to search for a free frequency, and of course, such a system doesn't have a scan of the frequencies to tell you which one is the most free, which one is the best one to use in that specific moment. But still, I searched it myself, I found it, and I didn't lose signal ever, not a single time, not even for a second, not even for an instant. Sometimes it happens. Most of the times it happens. Most of the times you just go on stage and there is that spot on the stage in which you will lose signal, or sometimes you lose it for just an instant, like a blink of an eye, and then it's back. This is regular to me. I've always experienced this kind of situation. Well, with the Alion S3, it never happened. So, good sound, perfect sound, I would say. Extremely, surprisingly good stability in the connection, but of course, not that many features. Still, with a good construction and still with a solid working functionality. What else can I say? I mean, if Anleon wants to improve, they should totally start considering some additional features, like for example the frequency scan. This is something that I find really useful, because when I get on stage, the first thing that I used to do is to search for the free frequencies and to set up and test, the location to be 100% sure that I won't lose connection in any time. Of course, the PowerPoint is that in my tests, I never lost connection, but you never know. In life, you never know. So this would be a really, really nice feature that they could provide. And once again, it's nice that they provide some headphones, because, when you purchase a packaging, you expect to have everything. So they are selling you a product that is complete somehow. But these headphones, sorry, I would never ever use them live because they're just not sufficient. And of course, another thing that might be improved is the antenna, because once again, of course, it worked perfectly, but I'm still a bit skeptical when it comes to this kind of antenna. So if they want to make a step forward, this is something that they should think of. But we're talking about a really cheap in-ear monitoring system, which it's kind of important. Last but not least, of course, the headphones connection here works perfectly. It's just an analog connection via cable. I would be completely disappointed if it didn't work. And when it comes to the audio loop, it's nice that you have a combo plug here. It would be nice to have XLR outputs too, together with the jack outputs. They are balanced, so this is at least something good, but having like XLR outputs on the back would be really nice. Also, some in-ear monitoring systems, they have a preamp. You can plug your microphone and you can set up the volume straight directly from the transmitter with a true bypass on the back. This is a function that I really love when it comes to small shows or guest appearances, when you don't have your entire system set up already, with your mixing console or the in-ear monitoring console. It's really nice to have the preamp there, because sometimes it's easier for me to plug my microphone straight to the transmitter and then use the true bypass output to provide a signal to the front of house. Of course, this feature is not possible with this in-ear monitoring system, but it's not possible with basically every monitoring system except for a few of them, which I really like, and I tend to focus on this because it's something that I really find useful, especially when you sell a product that is cheap. Because of course, when you are into a bigger production and your in-ear monitoring system is plenty of functionalities, and of course you have everything already set, like a stereo output just for your monitoring, then everything is easy. But sometimes when you face smaller stage experiences, which are the ones that, in my opinion, most of the customers that will approach to a cheap in-ear monitoring system will face. Of course, it would be nice to have this easy functionality, because it's really, really helpful and makes things easier, especially if you are playing in a pub or in those conditions in which you don't actually have your own monitoring line, because the mixing console sometimes doesn't have enough auxiliary outputs. So it's nice to plug your microphone there. You just set your own monitoring volume with the microphone, and you provide the signal to the sound engineer. And of course, in these conditions, what I tend to do is to use just one headphone without the other one, so that I can, use one ear to listen to my voice, and everything else I get it from either the PA or the wedge, if there is a wedge or whatever. But again, this function is not available here, and it would be really nice to have it. Apart for these two little things that I've said, headphones and this functionality that is missing, everything else is absolutely wonderful. I totally would suggest this system to all of my students and to all of those who are not yet into the world of in-ear monitoring system and want to find a solution that is balanced, that provides good audio quality, stability, and everything that makes you comfortable with an in-ear monitoring system, and at the same time doesn't want to spend much, because once again, this product is surprisingly cheap on the market and offers a superb performance compared to its price. That's all. Thank you for listening to me, and you have to check it out. Bye bye.